of you who are new to our community, essentially what this short PDF is designed to do is to really kind of give you a new way of looking at writing either your first or your next book in a very structured format that is designed to actually build your brand, cultivate your community, generate clients, and build your business. There's so much bad advice that I see out there for authors, especially new authors in the personal development and spiritual growth space. These are generally the clients and the audience that I interact with most frequently. And this confusion, unfortunately, leads to really lots of unpublished books and lots of unfulfilled authors and folks who really have an inspired message that aren't getting it out into the world. So if you're struggling to really build your brand, using a content marketing or what I call an enlightened entrepreneurial model, I really think this introduction to this process is going to be helpful. So the PDF is available to download below if you would like these 10 steps in PDF form. For those of you who don't, just watch the video, and I hope you enjoy. So I'm just going to run through these 10 bullet points very quickly, and then we'll kind of revisit each one of them in just a tad more detail so you have some context to support, why at least I believe these are the most important elements for our community. All right. So number 1 is teach, don't write. Number 2 is teach one thing at a time. Number 3, think small but serious. Number 4, a mantra and a question. Number 5, begin with the win. Number 6, no win, no book. Number 7, the empowering questions exercise. This is number 1. There's 2 of these, and this is designed to be asked of yourself as well as your book and your readers alike. Number 8, empowering questions exercise number 2, in parentheses, your book is a bridge. Number 9, you think differently. So you want to use your book to cultivate your community and build your brand around your inherent uniqueness, around the unique angle or approach or ethos that you articulate through your brand, through your content, through your identity, through your services, and so forth. All right. And number 10 is just an ode to short books. Give your readers their first taste of success. All right. Really quickly, I'm going to scroll to the top, and then I'm going to cover these in just a tad more detail. Some are fairly self-explanatory and don't require a lot of recapitulation, but here we go. So number 1, teach, don't write. All right, so the primary challenge that I myself have experienced, and I see lots of other folks struggle with, is this notion that you have to be Hemingway, or you have to write War and Peace, or you have to have this incredible literary talent to really write something that changes the world. And the truth is, you don't. You just need to conceptualize yourself as a teacher rather than a writer, and really aim at helping people either pop a pain or heal a hurt or high step some sort of hurdle, overcome an obstacle, whatever it may be. Your goal is to teach something, and not to become this author extraordinaire who is poetic and so forth and so on. All right. So, number 2, teach one thing at a time, right? So this is really critical to my system. You want to really get hyper segmented in terms of what you're teaching. I have a very unique approach for outlining, not only a book, but your entire, expertise or experience or everything that you have to offer the world. I call it a content cornerstone. We'll cover this in another video in some more detail. I know that many of you who have worked with me for years know that this is sort of, fundamental to my approach. But you want to teach one thing at a time. Avoid the urge to overwhelm. You don't want to data dump all of your niche knowledge of all of your experiences or expertise onto your readers at one time. They ain't going to appreciate it. They're not going to read it. And it may make your ego feel good, but it's really not what is going to help you build your business. All right. So this kind of, dovetails a little bit with the preceding point, which is think small, but series or scale, right? So when I start a book writing, either campaign for our clients, or if I'm doing something for myself, it is always something that I try to map out 3 or 5 separate short books, that can be done in a series, right? So you can cover lots of ground in an independent, each independent book answers teaches a specific exercise, helps overcome a specific hurdle, and ultimately, can stand alone and have a lot of value, but can be part of a broader series or, set of books. All right. So number 4, a mantra and a question. Essentially, when it comes to self-growth or personal growth and self-help style books, that's primarily what my audience is most interested in learning to write. The core thing that I try to ask myself with each book is, how can I help my audience live, right? So, make people better. And how can you help me to live is really the question that your reader is asking of you, even if they're not, intentionally or even consciously aware that that's the question. They are asking that, of your book, of your content, of, everything that you're expressing is filtered through the prism and perspective of how you can help them to live better and solve a problem that you are, by dint of, having a book in front of them, uniquely positioned, or at least in the moment, positioned to help them solve or resolve or, overcome, right? So make people better. You're not writing books, in my system anyway, to share your life story or what you did in high school or, the things that happened to you when you were 20. I mean, that's really not what builds brands. That, you want to help people improve, either overcome some challenge or learn a new skill or do something well that you are uniquely positioned in the moment to teach them, to show them, to highlight for them. All right, number 5, begin with a win, right? And future pace your reader's success, right? So in a really rudimentary example, let's say you're teaching someone how to cook, bake, blueberry muffins, right? So when you begin with the win and you start the book by future pacing somebody's success, you're essentially saying you have the exact ingredients to make a killer blueberry muffin. You have the right kitchen tools and technique, and 45 minutes from this exact moment, you will be taking your very first delicious bite, right? So whether that's teaching meditation or teaching, somebody about reading tarot cards or whatever it may be, you want to begin with the win, describe it, dimensionalize it, and give them a taste of what their future looks like with your system or your ideas in their heads in a day or in 45 minutes or in a month or whatever it may be, paramount or related to, what it is that you're sharing in this book or course or community or whatever it is. Again, I have to add that all of this applies to courses as well as it applies to books. So, some books, in my system, every book should be able to be read within a couple hours at most. But a course is something that, you might want to give people more time and it might not be something that they're finishing in, an hour or two. All right. So again, no win, no book, right? So if you're not able to articulate this point, number 5, well, then you just got to revisit what it is that people are getting by dint of experiencing your expertise or reading your words, right? So make sure you have a win to offer. That, again, at least for my system, that is the most important thing. All right. So number 7, the empowering questions exercise. There's 2 of these. Number 1, you're going to ask these of yourself, your readers, and your book. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for? What do they need? And how do their lives change when you do what you were born to do for them, right? So ask this of yourself first. If you're a coach or you're a yogi or you're teaching spiritual growth advancement or techniques, ask this of yourself, right? Who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for? What do they need? And how do their lives change when you do what you do best for them, right? And then ask this of, your readers as well. Like, who are you? Right? I mean, so get really clear. Now, not all of these apply to your readers, but the first one certainly does, and so does some of the others. What do they need? Right? And get really clear on who it is that you're serving. Lastly, your book that was born from your ideas and your inspiration and your, desire to make an impact in the world. Make sure that book is very clear and can answer these questions in order to put it out into the world. You want it to serve a purpose. And if you don't know what it is and what it does and who it's for, and, what do the folks that are reading the book really need, and how are their lives going to change when they are finished with your book? Again, what you were born to do applies, for this purpose for the book. A book is born of your inspired ideas or your imagination or your creativity. And, that is a really good way of framing this approach. Empowering exercise number 2, your book is a bridge, right? So your book ought to be cultivating clients. It ought to be creating a community. It should be moving people from here to here, right? If your entire book is focused on you and your life story and where you've been and all the challenges that you've overcome, it doesn't serve that purpose, right? So you want to ensure that you're moving people from strangers to subscribers, or, depending on your motivations, strangers to sales, right? So if you're selling a product or program over here and the folks are reading your book over here, you want the book to serve as a bridge to your store, to your services, to your free coaching, to a free session with you, whatever it is that ultimately you want the book to accomplish. Conceptualizing your book as a bridge is a key piece of that process. All right. So what is the number one thing that you want people to do immediately when they finish your book, right? What is the action or next step they need to make or take to build your business, right? This is really, really key. I mean, if there's an ambiguousness to this area and you don't really know what you want people to do when they, close that back page, or they X that pixel where your book is, online, you're not clear enough yet. So you want them to call you, to sign up for something, to register for an event. Without that last action, the bridge is not serving its purpose. So get clear on that, and everything that you write should be in the service of ensuring that a significant percentage of your audience does that next and last step. All right. Number 9, you think differently. Use your book to cultivate your community and build your brand through this notion, right? So, rather than teaching everything that you know, or even necessarily teaching one specific technique or exercise, a good approach that I found is very effective is just sharing how your unique angles, ideas, or ethos is different than everyone else, and how your unique thinking or process or program, your content course or community is different from what's already available, right? So how can you challenge a convention or confront a confusion and convey, crystallize, or communicate a unique idea or a new way of perceiving and overcoming a challenge? This is a gift that you give your audience, and a certain percentage of your tribe, your people, your, ideal client or ideal audience will raise their hand and resonate with the differentness, the different, I don't think that's a word, but the uniqueness of your particular approach, right? And all you're designed to do is meet them on the other side when they're done, right? So even if you're not necessarily sharing a whole bunch of techniques or exercises that's going to give somebody a specific experience, you can use your book as a simple framing device to, demonstrate how you think in a very different way from your professional peers, and maybe even the other books that these folks have written in the niche vertical marketplace or topic that you cover. All right, and last but certainly not least, an ode to short books. Right, short books are ideal for a number of reasons. A, people finish them. B, they're easy to write. C, it gives you the ability to write in volume, and volume is the key, especially, in 2018 and beyond. If you write one book and, it's not enough anymore, right? So a short book that gets consumed gives you a myriad of different opportunities. It gives you the ability to write lots of short books, but it also, something that people don't talk about nearly enough, is it gives your reader their first taste of success using your system or synthesizing your strategies, right? So when you keep it short, you're giving your audience their first subtle taste of success. They're finishing your book. Speaking personally, I can't tell you how many books I have on my ebook reader or physical books that I've just loved but never have finished, that I really don't know, how it ends, right? I mean, so, somebody who's teaching me something that I found a lot of resonance with in the first couple chapters, but I never get to the end. So I never really take a further action that's going to benefit that author, other than I may have enjoyed the little bit that I consumed, right? So when you give people the experience of finishing something, it is something that ought not to be underestimated. Finishing a book from your reader's perspective is an accomplishment. It feels good. And you're giving them this very subtle subconscious taste of, wow, like I actually read this, like I finished this whole thing in an hour. I must have really liked it. And here I'm going to now take that next step, which is email the author, because his or her, email invitations on that last page, or sign up for an event, or sign up for a free course, or call the author who is offering a free consultation about X, or pay for something, or join a community. So, when you give people this sense of accomplishment by keeping it short, not only are you serving giving yourself the experience of being able to write a lot more and sell a lot more books, and really take what might have been one book and turn it into 7 books, you're also cultivating trust and transformation and a sense of appreciation by your audience. All right. So by giving folks an early win, you're setting the stage for future success with your products and programs. Okay. So that's pretty much the first 10 steps. There's a lot more to our system. We have some really great teachers in our community. If you're interested in signing up for getting more information, there's a free link below. We'd love to have you. We're going to be doing some book writing challenges throughout the latter part of 2018 and well into 2019. And if you'd like to email me, directly, feel free to use the email address in the description below. Okay. Thanks so much for watching. The PDF is available for download, this one here, and I hope to speak to you soon. Thanks.